Hello, folks. Make way for another program in the series, Homo Politicus. Of course, you know what we do here. Like a friendly octopus, we claw at anything thrown up by my country, your country. Just so you know. Welcome. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Today, again, another unnerving loan spell. Tinubu writes National Assembly seeks 1.77 trillion naira fresh loan. Well, I desire to commence this preamble considering that as a country of conspiracy theorists and theories, the man on the street, or better still, the everyday Nigerian, has been conditioned to believe that country borrowing is anathema to growth and development. Yet it needs to be stressed that countries take loans from other countries for many reasons. But for my country, your country, taking loans has become more like a poisoned chalice. This is because we have become fastidious, that is too hard to please. After all, government at every level has failed to enlist the support of the governed. Now, so much about that. The news is that President Bola Tinubu has written to the National Assembly seeking approval for a fresh loan of 1.77 trillion naira, that's about $2.2 billion. The request is provided for in the 2024 Appropriation Act. Mr. President says the plan is aimed at addressing a portion of the 9.17 trillion naira fiscal deficit in the 2024 budget. The number one citizen requires an expeditious passage of the request. Makes one to ask, how did we get to this unnerving pass? Or are we damned? Shall we have a discussion, please? My discussants are well known to you, but then let's meet and greet the indomitable Emeka Madonagu. Emeka is a journalist and political commentator. Emeka, welcome one more time.
My pleasure to be here. Hello, viewer.
Emeka is joined by the breezy Akin Fatunke, chartered accountant and national and international affairs commentator. I welcome you, Mr. Fatunke.
Thank you very much, Citizen Jones. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Our listeners and our viewers, thanks for having us.
Okay then. Mr. Fatunke, I'd rather we started with you. You are the only money head here, economic head here. Another loan spell. You know, the president is writing the National Assembly for a fresh loan. Are you surprised here?
Well, I'm not surprised. We economists talk about ceteris paribus, all things being equal.
Okay. And they are not always equal.
They don't always are equal, but what you do is you balance the equation.
Okay.
And in this balancing of equation, the question is, do we trust the system? What has happened in the past? Are they giving us room to feel confident that whether it is one kobo loan or $2 billion loan that Mr. President is asking for, how are we sure that the judicial or judicious use
of the money, of the loan, yeah.
give a kind of confidence? It's such a corollary, Citizen Jones, I must tell you. I'm sure if you had that, and our people, including myself, hear about tax. The thing is to fear, whereas tax is the engine that you need to be able to take you from a particular destination to perhaps a higher destination, because it's the oil. Then the tax that you collect may be judiciously used. I clearly will repeat for an umpteenth time that going for loan is not a problem.
Okay.
Getting loan is also not a problem. Being, available and being given loan is another indication that those who are lending you
know you are solvent.
Have a feeling that you should be solvent,
yeah,
and that you should have potential. However, I must say, okay, no, please let me bury that. How much are we asking for? What are we asking that for? One, my understanding is that we need to use this to show the deficit. By deficit, it means when you take your money and your revenue that will come versus what you are going to be spending on, there's a shortfall that needs to be gauged. And government is saying yes, over 90% of that deficit is going to be funded by Eurobonds. Eurobonds means government can go out, and government had gone out, and our Eurobond has done very, very well. No doubt about that. So it's like
government will raise bonds
through Eurobonds.
Okay.
And if you look at the past Eurobonds that we had, it was highly, in fact, oversubscribed. In other words, you had put some kind of investment vehicle is giving you some returns. So government is now saying we're still going to do exactly that and get some returns with about, say, 95%. The remainder 5% will be funded through Sukuk. You know, this.
Yeah, Sukuk bonds, yeah.
So, on the face value, no problem. But
yeah,
you have a problem when you do application. That's what the finance people do for, you know, the application of the funds. Are you going to be spending these monies on productive capacities, or you are going to be spending it on consumption? Are you going to be taking these monies to pay salaries, as an example, or you are going to take it to fund the gifting, GIFFEN, the gifting appetite of elective class? Gifting is something luxurious, something that is not necessarily going to help you. So you want to ride private jets, you want to go on yachts and all that. Again, if it is going to end up in those areas, then it gives a lot of cause for concern.
Yeah, Mr. Fatuga, let me stop you. You have a lot of lecturing to do on the show. That's why we're here. But I can let sound Emeka out. Emeka, you know, to the everyday Nigerian, when an announcement is made about country borrowing, the Nigerian who is lacking in understanding, you know, if we go by what Akin just said, would say, here we go again. So President Tinubu wants a loan of 1.77 trillion naira. He's writing in the National Assembly. The man on the street does not understand.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You see, the appetite, borrowing ordinarily is not bad. But our appetite, our risk appetite is becoming worrisome. Even the IMF is saying that our capacity to keep up with debt servicing is becoming weaker. Now, the problem with, you know, when government tries to spin the issue of borrowing, it makes it, oh, it's oversubscribed. But the question to ask, the question many people don't ask, unfortunately many in the media don't ask, is at what cost? One of the things that upended our economy in the Buhari years, even under Jonathan particularly, Jonathan and then before Buhari, was the preponderance of briefcase portfolio investors. I believe Chief Fatuke understands what I mean. People with a lot of money, you know, venture capitalists, all kinds of investors, just roaming around the world, looking for, you know, where to just inject money. They will come into your country, they might hold a press conference, you know, and speak very lavishly. We're going to invest billions of dollars, we're going to build this. But what they just do is just look at your bonds, just look at your debt management office website.
And your profile.
Pick some bonds. Then call your officers in your debt management office that, okay, we're willing to, we see that you want to raise 500 million. We're willing to, you know, invest about 400 million. But you have to give us high returns. Now that's where the cookie begins to crumble. Because look at one of our Euro bonds, the one that matured last year, was at 13.67%. For an economy that is in the negative, minus, having to pay out bonds at almost 14%, what is the growth rate? What is the GDP growth rate? What is the state of the economy? How much is available for social programs? How much is available for capital expenditure? So what you find out is that government is now hooked, to borrowing. Like somebody is very ill that's hooked on, medication.
Yeah.
The Nigerian system is now hooked to borrowing and debt servicing. And our debt to GDP
makes you wonder if we are damned.
We are really damned. We are really damned. We are in a mess. Because why? The Tinubu administration tells us that there is no other way out. Now, when I say the Tinubu administration, I want to take it beyond President Bola Tinubu to members of this.
It's been some time coming.
Yes, you see, all of these things started, Soludo, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, who is the governor of Anambra State, when he was the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, he did something spectacular.
I think in the Yaradua years.
Yes, 2007. Yeah. He did something spectacular, whereby, he brought in a policy. Now, that's why I'm trying to explain why I said Tinubu administration. He brought up a policy of recapitalization.
Okay.
Now, by the following year, 2008, there was a global financial crisis that brought down big banks, big insurance companies, big companies around the world. Some billionaires around the world even committed suicide. Now, the interesting thing was that, because of that singular policy recommended by Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and which was bought by President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua.
Okay.
Nigeria's economy was saved from a heavy blow. Okay. We escaped it, even though it hit our stock market. But at least the banks did not go under. Many banks abroad just bottomed out. They just found out that the bottom disappeared. And everything went crashing down.
Yeah.
So, since then, financial experts have been warning us that we must be very careful about how we manage our economic fundamentals. That we must look at the fact that then President Olusegun Obasanjo was able to negotiate a debt write-off after clearing $18 billion. And that was when we came out. You remember in the 80s, in 1980s, we were in a debt trap. Nigeria was in a serious debt trap. That was why Babangida...
You remember in the Babangida years, he wondered aloud how our economy was still standing, regardless of the pummeling. It was
still standing. Babangida wasn't very sound in terms of economic and financial matters. Briefcase investors. That was why, the economy didn't bottom out. Because there were still these briefcase investors. They are ready to bring in money. Just make a call.
So the shocks were there.
Those short-term things now. Just, injection. Just give, someone having malaria, just give the person some drip so that, he or she can manage to get to the hospital, without collapsing on the way. So all of those little injections are things that we've been using. But you see, when too many injections have been administered,
obviously,
it weakens, those things weaken the patient.
The nerves.
So that 1980, that window of, the problems we had, the mess we fell into in the 1980s. A window of opportunity came. Babangida couldn't do anything with the Gulf oil windfall that I could have simply used to write off our debts. That was the missed opportunity. $12.2 billion disappeared into thin air.
And so we had to pay.
We continued. And remember, under Abacha, we now became a pariah nation.
Yeah.
That Inflation in Nigeria for the first time in independence rose to 76%.
Yeah.
But when democracy came back, there was a window of opportunity. Remember that when Obasanjo came in, the price of oil was very low, I think about $9. But due to certain things, price of oil rose. And then he was now advised by his finance minister, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, take this money and pay off our debts. You know, at least put Nigeria back on the financial stand. Because at that point, nobody was willing to lend Nigeria a dime. So when he got that debt buyback, because Babangida also tried debt buyback. But all these briefcase investors will not give you.
Emeka, when the Babangida regime does not sit down well with me. You remember he had the Dutch auction, the American auction.
They did buyback. All those were just palliatives. You know,
knee-jerk.
Thank you, knee-jerk. Not just enough to keep the patient alive, but not sufficient to ensure that the system can regenerate itself.
All right, let's go back to Mr. Fatunge. Mr. Fatunge, thank you for your patience. Again, let me do some more lecturing here. I've been long on this job to hear the phrase deficit budgeting. What does it mean in actual terms?
It means, Jones, all your apparatus that you have will cost you 100 naira.
Okay.
And the money you earn does not go beyond 80 naira. The difference between the 100 naira and 80 naira you must continue to live is either you go to borrow or you do some creative financing, and Emeka was going there, but he now diverted a little bit.
No, I defer to you as the expert.
And so rather than borrow, you can work harder.
Yes,
you
sir.
can look at your resources. In the Nigerian context now, there are assets hovering around the place. As a matter of fact, when international finance was moving and roving around, Nigeria, Indonesia, India were the haven where people were expecting that we could just do our asset management, physical asset management, turn it around, do a PPP,
Public
partnership.
and then get it done. Somebody said something which Emeka also
alluded
to
allude.
My grandmother used to allude to it. That you don't use all your hands to eat.
Like a crab.
So we lined up all our assets 5-10 years ago, laid them out, and then we get into a COVID year in 2020. That you can't do anymore. What then do? You are increasing your population. You are stealing yourself blind. Then you go the way of some African countries where you now go to beg people you should not beg. Perhaps go to China, and then they will decide to come and take over your assets. The point I am making is simple.
That's trying to break down deficit budgeting.
The deficit will continue to rise when you do not have the capacity to work so hard, to look and creatively, to look backwards, and then cut your boot according to plan. All this did not happen. Emeka made a statement just now and talked about Okonjo-Iweala, deep respect, and Obasanjo. The jury is still out. No two economists will agree for anything. I agree that we needed to clean the Indian table for us to now have the capacity.
A clean slate, and then start to write anew.
Rasa, so that we can then move forward, and then we forgive our debt. Come to Bola Tinubu's time. Bola Tinubu has done something similar. Because by the time he got here, Nigeria was becoming pariah. Nobody wanted to do business with Nigeria. We had backlog of money that needed to be paid to airlines and some other creditors. Within a few months, he creatively, maybe at a cost, like he said.
With borrowing.
At a cost. Well, with borrowing and some structural adjustment, some structural pains. The structural pains that we are all crying about as we speak today, subsidy is done. Aligning the exchange rate. Implementation, no doubt about that, was going to be, you can't just continue to, on the same spot, continue to give injection and you say you're not going to have a soul. You will naturally have a soul. My point, therefore, is simple. When you want to compare, like he has tried to do, see the Obasanjo years, and where we are at.
Where we are at now.
As at 2023, not comparable at all. He made a statement, and I think I agree. Obasanjo started with very low plat, and suddenly, without necessarily himself having to lift a finger, a few things happened in the international scene, and then we started earning a lot of petrodollars.
Okay.
Those petrodollars...
foreign exchange.
Yes. What did we use it for at that time? We ended stealing and re-stealing and going after, projects that...
No wonder Emeka said we were damned.
So if you are damned, let's call it exactly what it is. Yes, we are damned. We go borrow, we're going to go naked. Then somebody now then said, okay, look, yes, we can go naked, but let's remove the whole thing and try and begin to structurally adjust.
Yeah. Sorry. The Akwa Ibom man would say the pregnant woman is giving birth at a marketplace, and somebody is saying cover her some materials.
Okay,
and somebody is saying, what's the point there? Let's deliver the child safely first.
Not only is it that we deliver the child safely, even from experience, we all have gone through it. Look, save this woman's life and save the baby's life and all that. But at that market, you still see people who tell you that it's against my rule, it's against my religion, you should not put a woman to be naked and all. So we all will see things a bit differently.
Yeah.
Back to the focus. The focus is deficit financing. Are there other creative ways to do it? Yes. One.
Yeah.
Cost of put according to your club.
Okay.
Two, cost of governance needs to be reduced and not the faffing that I see around. Three, all tiers of government. When it comes to budgeting, Sir Jones, Tinubu, I keep on saying, I'm happy that Emeka also said it goes beyond Tinubu. There's some nationals. The kind of structure that we have is just gulping and regulping and regulping. And when you now want to put all those structural adjustments, the same elites, not the whole police, the same elites will rise up in arms and say it's not going to happen. The other creative, apart from asset is to look at taxes. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has boldly, boldly,
stepped on a sawtooth
at tax reforms. The same elites with different agenda now say they should not go in there. So you don't want us to go there. You don't want us to adjust all the things we need to adjust.
And you want the sick patient to get well.
The sick patient will quickly die. However, I see a game of musical chairs. Whereas, like Emeka will rightly say, and I think I agree, whether it's Jonathan's time, whether it's Yaragua, whether it's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whether it's Bola Tinubu himself, whether it's Buhari, whether it's Bola Tinubu himself, do we have a president that we can close our eyes? My grandmother will tell you, just go without food. I know it's going to be very difficult. Go without food. But by evening, look, something better is going to come in for you. So I close my eyes. Truly, by evening, I see Dr. Ration, or I see something better. Is he leading by the kind of example that we expect that should engage that trust The answer
after all,
it's not clearly to say yes.
Yeah,
He's bold in going the way he's going,
yeah.
but the way and the method that he's going is by far, in my opinion, better than his
all right. In trying to take this home, therefore, the doctor at the theater will look at the patient one more time, and to him, there appears to be one way out. Gentlemen, how about Nigeria going into an aggressive, productive scheme at this point? Remember, Emeka Akin, federal government has no farm, but state governments have farms. How about going into aggressive production?
The issue about production, first of all, you don't have regular power supply. Right. Bayelsa State has been.
But you have something. You have
no, Bayelsa State has been.
You have that you have not planned for.
Bayelsa State has been without power supply. Bayelsa State has been without power supply for 4 months. Akwa Ibom State joined. Enugu joined. You know, all anchored on either vandalism or lack of gas, or one story or the other. Just yesterday, the Akwa Ibom State government.
One of those stories is corruption. It's always
the Akwa Ibom State government sacked one of the companies, you know, arranging gas supply for its turbine. Now, we need to go beyond just going to farm to cultivate crops and then shipping abroad. We're not getting any value. We must now insist on local content.
Yeah.
We must now reduce our export of extractive resources. We must reduce it and produce.
Sorry, quickly, so I don't forget. Emeka Anaki, my mind goes to Kenya. Kenya lives or survives by exporting fresh flowers and the locally produced tea.
Very true.
Yes, but
very true. But in producing those fresh flowers,
yes,
you don't get the queues going to kill people that are in the farm trying to get it out. That is one of the unique Nigerian problems. And Stacey Jones, I'm sorry.
Yes.
See, right? If you don't plan to succeed, you have succeeded in planning to fail. This production that we are talking about, you don't just go there, put, an ear of corn, and the following day you expect that it's going to come out.
Yield, yeah.
To take some little time. Then secondly, while you are patiently waiting, many of the things that you refuse to do in yesteryears will meet up with you. When Emeka was feeling out that it's not going to be production alone, and I clearly interjected it. Don't let us be shy. It's also corruption. It's also the fact that things beyond us, people want to go back into the farms. But you know what has happened in the past 8 years? Well, it goes beyond past 8 years, starting from Obasanjo's time, that we started having the insurgents coming in and out. We took a decision.
2009 to now.
This country took a decision that we have cousins. Now, you see, we have cousins. And we open our borders, and they are all here. We brought them in because of elections. After elections, we couldn't take them.
Oh.
So, for a lot of the things that we have refused to do,
we are paying.
So, I like your point. So, the surgeon, so me and you, and the American, we are surgeons now. You ask me, so what do we really need to do? And you said, your own. As far as I would say, I will be a surgeon, you can stab me. I said, surgeon, this patient is going to die. This patient must die. It can't survive. Go to church and go to mosque and go to your traditional religion. It's not going to die. So the only thing is to then come back, as sane people do, say, look, I am going to die. Can I now put my house in order, the little that I have? Can I now look at my children? Can I now look at a few things? And I give some to Cecily Jones because I know he's a great broadcaster. Give a little bit to Emeka because I know he's an NGO who knows how to make a lot of noise where there should be no noise. As an example. Give some to Akifatunke, who will just sit in between. And let us all go our different ways in the way and manner that the Holy Bible, as a historical book, took that decision by Christ Jesus. decided that, look, it's going to give each and every one of us our own gifts. Go your different ways. Go do what you need to do. Don't kill one another. Bring your own returns. I bring my own returns. For you who have not done anything with your own, take it from me and give it to somebody else. In other words, I'm saying, says Jones, a way out is to clearly, we are looking at budget, we might as well be looking at any of the SDG goals, 17 of them that Nigeria is showing right now. That Emeka says we are in a mess, but we are truly in a mess. Let's all carefully get ourselves together and say, to your tents.
Oh, Israel.
We decide what we produce, what we should eat, what should come to us, develop it at our own pace, and decide what we are going to bring to center. We've had something similar to that before. But the elites, unfortunately, will not allow that to happen. So,
okay,
on this deficit, Citizen Jones, that deficit that I just mentioned, that 20 naira of the 100 naira, that is the thing that quite a number of leeches are waiting for. They are in government, they are at the state level, they are everywhere. That is where they make their own draw of blood without producing anything, without returning anything.
So when the president says the idea is to address a portion of the 9.17 trillion naira budget deficit,
Right.
that's what we are saying.
The budget is about to close.
No, the current budget.
Yes, it's about to
we are
close.
talking of the METP.
No,
of 2025.
I know, but it's to address the deficit in the current budget.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
And then we're about to.
But they wrote another letter. Citizen Jones. Okay, the METP and FFP. Also, there was another letter that was written to the National Assembly that was going to look at the Social Investment Act. It's not working. It didn't work. It's not been working. Can we recalibrate this in a way that all these pains that our people are facing, can we refocus and rebalance them so that we can find a way to push all those pains?
All right, Emeka, I want us to close now, but before we so do, let me drop this. I hope you make sense of it. They say when you pour oil on troubled waters, you wonder what you pour on troubled oil. So our oil is troubled.
I was even going there.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now, one of the things Nigeria can do is to stop taking commercial loans. Let's look for concessionary loans.
Okay.
And then let's issue bonds instead of tying loans to our natural resources. That's where the problem is, because for every barrel of oil, like we've said on this program many times, you get so many products, up to about 40 products or more.
Yeah, 42.
But when you now sell those things as they're extracted, when you are not even in charge of the extraction, then it weakens your capacity
Something gives.
to use it.
Did you say we should go for concessionary?
Yes, whereby we can
I hear you.
we can have some
Not only
leeway,
that,
yes.
it will come on, and it will, the rate will be
much more better.
But Emeka,
Then
in fairness,
yes,
excuse me, the Tinubu government is pursuing that. In fact, is the reason why IMF is giving it out there. What is it that IMF is seeing that we that are Nigerians are not seeing? It's just simply lack of trust. But he's making that point, and I agree with him.
yeah. I was even heading to the oil matter, whereby
Oil and water.
Egypt started some years ago. Egypt decided to sell citizenship because he saw the interest of people, in coming to. So he now said that, okay, if you drop $250,000, they can come into our country, you'll get citizenship. Then if you drop XYZ amount of money over the next 5 years, we'll give you citizenship. That is one. Two, talking about, it's not impossible. You have the power. That is one. The other.
If you drop that, there are some people that.
Aki. Emeka,
the other one.
Aki is suggesting to you and I that Nigeria is not a go-to country like Rwanda, for instance.
No, it doesn't.
Like Egypt.
It doesn't follow. I will tell you why. I'll tell you. Russia has been under sanctions, but due to certain developments in America and Europe, you have billionaires from those countries, who have gone to Russia to take citizenship for certain reasons.
Regardless.
Yes, regardless. So, there's a billionaire, I've forgotten his name, who did that. A French billionaire, he moved because of taxes. So if we
examples of money backs, Nigerians, we have them that is first of all willing to come back, or that is not in here.
No, I'm making suggestions.
That there is a potential in this country.
Yes. No, fine. Now, you know what I'm looking at. Yes. I'm looking at.
Yes.
Narendra Modi has come.
Yes.
Offer him beyond just saying
the national award, national honor. GCON, right?
Yeah, it is okay. It's something to lure the big fish.
Okay.
Then you can also add some things to it, citizenship and certain incentives. Then going directly to the oil thing, we can also charge carbon and pollution taxes. There's a lot of pollution going on in the Niger Delta. Who is being made to pay for it? A lot of emission going.
The elites will come out and say you are over.
What I'm saying is, I'm just making suggestions.
Now, those suggestions must be real. Look, Emeka, you and I are different. You speak a different language. I speak a different language.
Gentlemen. Except that the producers index figure is asking us to apply the brakes.
What you are suggesting, I will be surprised if anybody will say, we have not been thinking about that in the past 50, 20 years of our existence. The will to do it is just that, as you are saying, you see, I was actually playing the devil's advocate. I am not shooting down what you are saying. That is the way to go. It's been said so many times before, but some people will just say, no, that's not the way to go. So,
but we need a political
way, and we should do it. Is let's agree that this, our beloved country, and I love my country so much, is not something we should continue to say is not negotiable. It's negotiable, and we must restructure it politically, economically.
No, it's not. It's not the country that is not negotiable. Our sovereignty is non-negotiable.
Okay, so,
let that continue. Okay.
Because apart from the oil and water, there's something else.
Gentlemen, Akin Fatunke, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you. Emeka Madu Nagu, many thanks for your...
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, the debate continues. Don't forget, our business here is to mold opinion after looking at a subject matter, completely as a whole. So, President Tinubu is asking the National Assembly to approve a 1.77 trillion naira fresh loan. If it is a yes or no for you, let it be with Caesar. And do you think we are a long way from home? The coming days would tell. Let me thank you for your time. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.